This week, we want to focus very hard on one particular aspect of your growth journey, and it is all about your brand. Okay, now when you're launching, perhaps you're relaunching, what you're looking to do with the brand is essentially give a shorthand for what it is that you're here to do. All right, so what we're going to do today is just run really quickly, 10 minutes or so through what should my brand look like. All right, now, as ever, every single one of these weekly webinars fits somewhere into the growth execution formula. We're very firmly in marketing today, and it's marketing brand that we're looking at specifically. That is element number 6. Now, when you think about your marketing brand, what you're really thinking about is how people can translate the iconography, the fonts, the colors, the words that you put out there about your business into what its meaning is, right, what its essence is. If you remember, everything about marketing and everything about sales is about trust. Okay? How can you build up enough trust from your potential target market that they wish to part with some hard-earned cash and buy your product or service? Right, so everything that you need to be thinking about when it comes to brand is just that reflection of who you are, what your business is meant to be. And that's why it's essentially the shorthand for your product concept. So product concept is your very first element in the growth execution formula. You'll remember the answer to the question, why am I solving this problem? So in your marketing brand, there's a number of different elements that you need to pay attention to. So what I've shown here is just a summary of some of the elements that make up Grotian's brand. So you can see we've got our periodic table, we've got the individual element signs, and we've got the same font as our logo. The G on the logo is kind of like a chemical flask with a little window reflection in it to give the inlets of the G, and all it's looking to do is to reflect on this idea of there being a growth formula, a growth execution formula, something or a series of things that will help you as a business to grow and to grow fast. So everything about our brand is reflecting the product concept that we set out to do, which is to help SME businesses to launch, build, and grow their businesses and do it fast. So you can see as well that there's kind of generically 4 different colors, 3 different types of blue and a pink. It's useful to have that kind of offset color, that one that's very, very different to the others, because that helps when you think about things like if you're looking at website buttons, things that really need to grab the attention of your potential customer and encourage them to do something perhaps a bit different to what they would do elsewhere with your various brand assets. So that's just an example of a brand and how that consistency plays in. What you're looking to really work out, and again, this could be if you're coming at it from a business that's already in play, that you've been working on for some time, have a look, have a think about how your brand is coming across right now. And what you want to do is to really reflect on whether it does what you want it to do. Does it really reflect who you are and what you are looking to sell to your audience? Because even if there is even the smallest, the slightest differences in colors or challenges to fonts and things like that, human beings are trained to notice these things. Our DNA from, when we used to trail the savannah, we always were on the lookout for things that didn't look quite right, that were unusual, that make us distrust it. And it is those instincts, those distrustful instincts, that will probably mean that you are here today, because your ancestors' genes have been preserved all the way down the line simply because they had a real knack for spotting when things looked out of place. Now, of course, we don't need to be afraid of most brands, I think, these days, but still, we have that trait within us that looks at things and goes, do you know, I don't trust that as much as I would otherwise, because something doesn't quite resonate, isn't quite as coherent or consistent as it seemed to be, and therefore I'm just going to hold back a bit. I'm just going to wait and see if they fix it, or if I can prove to myself some other way that this is really a business that I want to do, I want to buy something from. All right, so things that people are looking out for when they look at your brand are consistent colors. Okay, again, if you can have some that are essentially a generic color and then one that is a standout color. Your logo, now that needs to be the same in proportion to itself wherever it appears. It's useful to have actually a logo that's kind of like a logo when you saw the Grocean one earlier. But then also an icon. So that's for your Twitter button, and that can appear as a favicon at the top of your of a browser when your website's open, etc. So to have something that's square is very useful, an icon, as well as having a longer logo that perhaps enables you to be a bit more descriptive about who you are and what you say. So you can see, just quickly flipping back to Grocean, we've got the G there, and then we've got the longer logo, which includes the name of the business too. So logo is really important and very important to get consistent and particularly consistent sized. You've all seen those ones where they squash them up and they look terrible. So don't ever change the proportions of your logo on your icons. All right. Name. Sounds very straightforward. Of course, your business has a name. One of the things I think is most fascinating about naming businesses is that it matters far, far less than most people think. All right, the name of your business does not have to be really in any way relevant or reflective of what it is that you're doing. One of the businesses that I was heavily involved with us at the start was Zoopla, and Zoopla means absolutely nothing. And in fact, it was checked to make sure it means absolutely nothing in any language, just in case we took it out internationally, and it ended up meaning something rude in Swahili or something like that. So fully checked. Zoopla means nothing, but by adding attributes to it as we built and we grew, it meant that it came to stand for something. All right, so don't get too hung up on names. When you're looking for your name, if you are starting out or if you're thinking about completely relaunching or rebranding, do check domain names. Okay, see what's available. See if you can find something that's got a .com, .co.uk, .co, because that's the tricky bit. Really, it's not what the name is. It's actually, can you get something that you can say out loud on a radio show or a podcast, and people are going to roughly know where they've got to go to get it, without then having to spell out a 26-character URL that people are going to instantly forget. All right, so names are important, but less important than you probably think they are. Fonts, something really standard, really kind of not quite traditional, but certainly something that renders equally well on the web as out in the real world on print. Google fonts are great for that. Start with your web font, because web translates to print very easily. There are some very fancy print ones that don't update on the web very easily as well. So, but make sure you get the consistent ones, great ones, things like Railway, Raleway, Montserrat, Open Sans. These are just really quite they're very simple and very straightforward, and they're ones that make it easy for people to read, which obviously is the job of fonts. But do get them consistent, and do make sure that across the piece you're not using too many different styles. All right, now every week we want to present you with an action that you can go away and do. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit by giving you a kind of a preliminary action here. Now, if you have the money, and if you have something between £5,000 to £20,000 to invest in your brand, then go and get a brand design. Get a professional. All right. It's not often we talk about going and splurging big in the Growth Execution Formula, but when it comes to brand, the brand guidelines that you will get as a result of employing a professional to design your business brand is going to save you so much time, so much money, so much effort going forwards. All right. So if you can, do invest in a brand designer. Now, we use the wonderful guys at 10creative.co.uk, so number 10 and then creative.co.uk, based in Cambridge. Ollie and the guys are amazing, and everything that they gave us 5 years ago still holds true today. All right, so that's the mark of a great design with great colors, great fonts, etc. So get a professional if you can. If you can't, then this is the action for you. 0602. Generate logo, colors, and fonts. So using an online logo maker is quite interesting. They come in different shapes and sizes. Wix is a good one, Wix. canva.com/logo-maker, I think. That's quite a good one. There's a number of others out there. I think Canva has got one too. They can be quite generic, but particularly if you're just launching, it doesn't need to be overly ornate. It just needs to be reflective of broadly what you're looking to do out there. So use an online logo maker. That's really cheap, really cost effective. Get your color palettes. Now there is a brilliant site, and I know that I'm drifting already into our recommendations. It's a brilliant site called colors.co, COLORS.co. Go and look at it. You can play for hours just with loads of different colors. And that's something that you think that you might want to do. But have a look at those. Stick to standard fonts as say Montserrat, Railway, Open Sans, all good. Mindful of time, so I'm going to race through onto the recommendation of the week here, giving you some bonus ones just back then. But GIMP, right? GIMP, crazy name, amazing piece of kit. It's basically Photoshop for free. Do get on, have a look at it. I rave about it elsewhere in the Growth Execution Tips and on the Growth website, but it is phenomenal. If you can learn how to use it, really straightforward, then you are way ahead. You're able to use to build some really good imagery to go with your brand as you build and grow it out going forward. Plenty more as ever on the Growtion.co website, GROWTION.co. Loads of tips, loads of tricks, podcast links, weekly newsletters. Listen, thanks so much for being part of the Growth Execution webinar this week.